Hello. Hello, hello. I hope everyone's doing well. I made a little bit of a different setup today because sometimes I'm just way too close to the camera. I feel like I'm inside the camera. So I put another little desk here so that I could have more room when I'm doing my nails and we're talking. So, of course, let's start off with today's tea. Have a nice full teapot, and today's tea is chamomile. I'm feeling like relaxing. And I just got some new loose leaf teas today. I know Mallory was asking where I like to get my teas. If there's a place locally that I can find that has loose leaf teas, I like to get them there. Otherwise, I will order online. I prefer loose leaf over like the pre-made tea bags because then I can mix them together and kind of create my own blend. And I don't know, I just like having it like straight as it's supposed to be. So I'm going to let this brew a little bit. And we're taking off this, whatever that was, that SE quick dry. The last time I put it on, it did not quick dry and it smudged and kind of like became textured on top. So I'm just kind of over it. I haven't gone back to get a different color. What I'm going to do today is this was the red that I really liked from Dollar Tree. And it dries pretty quickly too. So I'm just going to go back to that. But yeah, so today I want to talk about the art of slowing down because this weekend or this past week, I did two things that I want to tell you guys about. So the first is I went and took my makeup education class that I've been talking about. I went on Friday with my friend and we did a double person session. So I got to watch my friend get her makeup applied. And as she was getting the makeup applied, Melanie was telling us about the technique and the products that she was using. And then after she was done, it was my turn. So I got my makeup done and she was again explaining how to use everything. But it was so good to actually see her do it on my friend first, because while it was happening to me, I couldn't remember like anything that was happening. So it was really, really helpful the way that she does these lessons, and she suggests that you do it with a second person so that you can watch first and then have it done on yourself. Because when she was doing it, I didn't necessarily, you're feeling it happen, but everything just feels kind of light on the skin. So I don't know. I wouldn't have retained as much unless I had seen her do it on my friend. But I learned a lot about the techniques. We talked about underpainting. She did some underpainting on me that was really, really beautiful. I really loved that. I want to try that again. Today I did my eyebrows and I spent more time on everything. So, she was not rushing, although, she was working at a certain pace because she had two faces to get done. But what I noticed was that it takes time to create that kind of beauty. You can't rush through it. So there was a skin prep step, right? We had to make sure that our skin was prepped and ready for the makeup. And then, each process she gave full attention to, and especially creating the skin, the foundation. and some of the contour, not like heavy, heavy contour. But once put foundation on, now, everything is just kind of one color and it can look very flat. So even if you're not doing like heavy, heavy contour, heavy blushing, you do want to put some color back onto the face. And for me, I'm interested in learning this because when I'm filming, I have a very bright light in front of me, right? And a lot of times, because I'm so fair skinned, for example, my eyebrows are not this dark naturally. My eyelashes are not this dark naturally. So a lot of times if I'm in like really bright lights, my features just kind of blend together. So you want to use the products and the colors to accentuate them again. And I just really appreciated the artfulness or the artistry, I think would be a better word, to it, and how it takes time. You cannot rush. You cannot rush if you're wanting to create beauty. So that was number one. Number two, the second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about or mention on this topic is that I had a little pop-up class yesterday, an in-person class down at Synergy Pole Fitness in Murfreesboro. Beautiful, beautiful studio. If you come to dance with me in person, we will likely be over there. And I had a little pop-up for Pure Elegance Pole, and it was a wonderful class. It was really, really fun. We had 2 hours, and the first hour, we really strengthened our mind-body connection. We started with posture and breathing, and then we kind of eased our way in to the dance and the pole work. And it was a really, really nice class. I got to meet quite a few new people that I haven't danced with before, who came out. And I got to see several of my returning students. So that was really, really nice. But we were going slow. We took 2 hours for class, and we still could have probably done another half an hour to hour, because we were just really that intentional in taking our time. We weren't flying around trying to do all the tricks that we were thinking that we could think of. It was really, really intentional. And everybody had a great time. And my favorite part was that we all just kind of synced up so beautifully during the class. Everybody was dancing together. Everybody was looking graceful and elegant. And we were just really working on the art of slowing down, which is something we're going to talk about today. I know that a lot of people struggle with this, especially when it comes to movement. And movement is something that you can really see and measure. And then when it comes to sort of your off the pole habits, that can be a little harder to measure and observe, but you still might be having trouble, when you're off the pole, slowing down. And so I think it was a TikTok that I had posted in my stories. But I had seen a post, and I remember sharing it about, the siren figure, and sort of female seduction. And it was talking about how slowing down is really, really helpful if you are trying to achieve that type of siren energy or female seduction, because it really will set you apart. And what we talked about in yesterday's workshop at the end was that when you are comfortable going slow and you are still in going slow, it's not like you're giving less energy than somebody who is performing twice as fast, let's say on the pole, for example. So let's say I'm going half the speed of the person next to me. It's not necessarily that the person next to me is using more energy. It's just that the energy is going out versus coming in. When you slow down, you pull focus to you. Does that make sense? You start to attract things towards you because you're not in a rush to meet everything else where it is out here. So it really will set you apart when you learn the art of slowing down. So what does that look like? It starts with your walk. We started yesterday in our workshop with just some walking exercises back and forth across the studio and really paying attention to number one, our posture, learning how to hold that. And number two, the fluidity of our feet as we were walking. So really paying attention to the smoothness of our weight transfer, avoiding having it look jerky and, really focusing on one foot passing the other and making it look really smooth and really sensual. So even the way I'm moving my hands now, it gives off that type of energy. And so if you haven't practiced moving at those speeds before, of course, it's going to feel really awkward and difficult. You might find that you are losing your balance. That's really, really common, and it's very normal. When you start to slow down, you're going to need a lot more balance. You might find that you start to hold tension in places to try to get control. So for example, when I have students walk across the floor slowly, because they're concentrating so much, they'll start to kind of tense up in their jaw, and maybe like one shoulder will start to creep up because they're really, really focusing. Again, that's normal in the beginning. But all we have to do is correct and continue. And eventually, you will start to feel more secure. So essentially what happens is when we start to slow down, because the movement requires more, I don't know the exact word for it. Let me think. It's kind of like, holding a pose can sometimes be more difficult than like lifting a weight quickly, right? So for example, if I asked you to hold a weight in your hand for like a minute, that's going to be harder than me saying, can you pick this thing up once quickly, right? I think we understand that concept. So holding it for a longer period of time requires a different type of muscle strength than just using your momentum or doing something once quickly. So it's kind of like a different stamina, if you will. So the only way to push through that is just to continue the exercise. So when you wobble and fall out, you just get right back into it. And eventually you will develop that strength and that balance so that you're wobbling less and less. But it's interesting because you might feel physically insecure in the sense that you don't have your balance, right? You're physically like kind of off balance. And then mentally, you might start to feel a little insecure as well because everybody is watching you, right? The spotlight is on you when you are going slower. And I find that so many people, let me know if you're one of these people, rush because they want to get it over with because they don't want to be seen. It is what it is. I'm just telling the truth. They don't want to be seen struggling. They don't want to be seen, for long periods of time. So they are rushing through the movement to get it done and, kind of move out of the spotlight, as it were. Okay, hang on. I have something under my nails I need to get rid of because it's bothering me. So what does that look like? That looks like you'll know that you're doing this. So let's say, for example, yesterday, when we were walking slowly across the floor, I'll know that a student is a little uncomfortable with being seen and being seen struggling when they get towards the end of their walk and they could still do like 2 or 3 more steps, but they kind of like rush right at the end to be done and out of the way. So nobody's looking at them anymore. I know you guys can relate. If you've ever found yourself doing that, it could also be that while we are practicing at the pole and we're all going slowly together and we're coming to the end of the combination or the skill that we're working on, same thing. You will try to rush through once we get to the end to, sorry, I was going to say to like hop off the pole and be done. So that rushing energy is coming from the discomfort you might feel when you go slower and people are really able to see everything that you're doing well, and everything that you still need to work on. That can be very, very uncomfortable for people. Okay, let me get this last little piece off, and then I want some tea. It's taking forever. Almost there. Okay. That's fine. Let's have some chamomile tea. This is really hot. And I just wanted chamomile because I really do like the scent and the flavor. And I also love the calming effect. Let's see if I can even have a sip. Okay, yes, so nice. Okay, I think I'm gonna do a base coat, and I don't feel like I need to do too much cleanup on my nails. Since I literally just did that last week when I was on live. I've been doing my nails more than I ever have in my whole life since I've been doing them on live. But especially when you do red polish, sometimes it can stain. So I want to do a clear base coat first. Okay. So back to our topic, the art of slowing down. I'm just really on a mission to help people with this because there's a certain level of comfort that you will develop once you learn how to slow down and just be with yourself, be at ease with yourself, that I want everybody to experience. And it was really interesting because during yesterday's class, as I said, we were all doing the routine so beautifully, so smoothly together. And then the second it came time for people to continue dancing on their own, add a little bit of freestyle if they wanted to, it was like somebody hit fast forward and everybody just started speeding up, doing all kinds of different tricks, spinning very, very fast and forgetting about the details. And that's not to criticize anyone. I'm just describing something that we all experience when we are on our journey to learning how to slow down. So it's not uncommon because your default mode may in fact be on fast forward if you've never truly practiced developing your mind-body connection and slowing down. All right, let's let this dry, then we'll do the other hand. If you are listening, let me know if you're having trouble slowing down and why. I'm kind of nervous to use this hand, so maybe I'll just put it down here. I do like the pink lights a little bit. I think it looks a little nicer. So I think I'm going to keep doing that. And you might see some like little balloons in the corner. We had a little fun with my friends here on Friday night. So you'll see what those balloons are for maybe on my Instagram sometime soon. Okay. This is a time where I have to slow down. I can't rush because now I'm using my left hand and my coordination on my left hand is not as good, my fine motor skills. So I really have to concentrate. Okay. Off to a good start. But I think a lot of people are rushing because I've talked about this before. They are approaching their practice as, I want to check this off the list and go to the next movement. I want to get this done. Instead of, I want to explore and really master this movement. I want to play with this movement. And it's just two totally different kinds of approaches. So the mastery comes when you really live in just one kind of technique, one kind of movement, and try it at different speeds, try it with different kinds of expression, and just really try to feel every part of your body that's involved in the movement as much as you can. And you're not focused on anything besides mastering that movement or that sequence. But a lot of people come in and they're so anxious to just check things off the list and get to the next one that they never even get into that state. They never even, that entire hour they're in class, they're never actually in that sort of flow state. And you'll hear that all the time when people talk about feminine energy. Feminine energy is the flow. Well, you can't get to the flow and the play and the creative when you view everything as a checklist to be completed. And you're impatient, you know? It's really important to take self-inventory and be honest with yourself if you're being impatient. And then, give yourself that space to slow down and not try to rush everything. Okay. Oh, that's strange. There's like some sort of weird string coming off of that. Whatever that was. See how I have to drink my teacup because my nails are wet? If you ever need a reference when it comes to slowing down, again, all you have to do is go back to nature. Nature is your greatest teacher. The only time when things are really rushed is like during, let's say, a storm. Storm is a really great example. Or when animals are like in fight or flight, right? But those moments don't last forever. They come and they go. It's just a phase. It's temporary. And then everything kind of goes back to that regular organic pace. I think a lot of what's happened is that our lives have become so inorganic that we think our default pace is supposed to be much faster than it truly is. With all the technology that we have, our lifestyles, etc., somehow we've lost touch. And now we believe that we should just be, doing things faster because of our society, and we're forgetting about nature and how nature always arrives on time. Everything always gets done, right? The trees, always get their leaves back. And the flowers always blossom. They follow a natural rhythm. And we, are humans, having a different kind of experience than the nature around us, but we are still subject to the same biological limitations. We are still having a biological experience. Therefore, we also have natural rhythms that we have to adhere to. And something I say a lot when I'm working with people and when I'm training teachers is that you have to give time in the learning process. You cannot press fast forward. You simply cannot. The brain will not allow you to do that. You have to have time, you have to have sleep in order for you to process all of the information and all the skills that you're learning, in order for you to actually build the muscle that is required for you to do all of these moves. You have to have time. Okay, I don't know how much of this I actually have in here, but we're going to try it out. Okay, is this dry? Yeah, more or less anyway. Okay. It's very, very thin. But I just like the color so much better. It's a little more pink than the other one. But yeah, it's very, very thin. Even has like a nice little, oops. I was going to say it kind of has like a nice little shimmer to it as well. But now I remember why I stopped using this, because it is kind of difficult to build it up, and then it'll get sticky, and then you're kind of like brushing the paint off when you want to fill it in. Okay. If you are listening, let me know where you're from. All right, here's the color. Well, here's the color. I'm a little outside the bounds. I'm a little outside my nail, but I'm going to clean that up later with a Q-tip. All right, let me get some more paint on this one. Let me know where you're from if you're listening. But, ooh. Hello, my friend. How are you? It's been a minute. I hope you're doing well. Candy Coated AB from Nashville. I'm glad to see you. We were talking about, oh, are you doing your nails with me? Yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah, we're just talking about slowing down. So I like to hop on live and do my nails and do just exactly that. Like, I'm not sure where everyone is rushing to. I've said this before. I don't know if there's some kind of like shoe sale that's going on that everybody is rushing to, that they're in such a hurry. But I'm going to be over here taking my time, enjoying my experience. When you go too fast, you are unable to actually take in the experience and enjoy it fully. And that is not how I want to live. And I know there are a lot of you out there who have sent me messages and replied to my stories that you want to Tap into your femininity more. And I love that. I'm here for that. I am working on bringing more like feminine education to this channel and to the resources on my website, because I remember feeling completely disconnected from myself and from my femininity because nobody ever talked to me about it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of this thing that like exists, but people won't talk to you directly about. At least in my experience, that was the case. And so I had to go on YouTube and start watching other creators and listen in to what they were saying. And then, as I was telling maybe in a video before, you know, even like last week, the word feminine comes up when people are talking about me. And I guarantee you it has to do with the fact that I am just going slower than a lot of other people around me. So I could be in a room with a couple of people and I am just moving and speaking slower than them and really kind of taking my time and having this energy, this like, I don't want to say aura, but you know what I'm talking about. Just this kind of vibe of, again, pulling things towards me versus all the energy coming out of me going to that other person. So I notice it when I'm in a group situation, and when people give me that feedback in those group scenarios, you know, they'll say something like, well, Ariel is just really feminine, right? And it's not that they can't be or that they aren't feminine or aren't, you know, on their journey. It's just that I've spent a little bit more time like embodying it, to the point where I don't necessarily have to actively think in my mind, slow down. I mean, there are times, because like I said, just because you might master the art of slowing down while you're dancing. Sorry, there was like a strange noise. Sounded like a bird or something. I hope the bird is all right. Just because you master the art of slow and sensual movement on the pole, it doesn't mean that in your daily life, you're going to have the exact same outcome. And that was true for me for a long time. I was very, very slow and graceful on the pole, but I was a mess in terms of like my mindset and my self-confidence. You know, I was definitely caught up in the rush, just like everybody else. You know, at one point I had 3 jobs that I was working. I was never home. I was always eating in my car, that sort of thing. I never really had time to put effort into my appearance the way that I wanted, because I was simply just working like every single day, you know, trying to get things done. So, you know, we've all been there. But in the last couple of years, I've been lucky enough to have the time and the space to bring that grace and that sensuality and that femininity that I was exuding on the pole, and, you know, kind of just bring it into my daily life. And that's why I like taking time to have tea, you know, brewing a whole pot, putting it in a nice teapot to sit down and do something like my nails, instead of let me quickly put a tea bag in the microwave and hurry up, get this over with type of thing. You can make your daily life more sensual and more feminine by slowing down little things such as making your tea, making your coffee, making your meal. I took my time to do my makeup before I got on this live after doing the makeup lesson. And I have to say, it looks a lot different than when I'm trying to rush. Like if I'm like, oh, I want to go live and let me hurry up, get this done, sort of thing. It never looks as good. All right. Gonna let this side dry a little bit before I do the other. It's coming out nice. I like this color so much more than what I was doing last week. The other thing that I wanted to plant a seed for, I was talking with my mother about my class and just, what I've been working on and helping people with. And she said the word alluring to me. She said, I think, Ariel, it's more about teaching women to be alluring versus sexy. And she was like so spot on. I was so surprised just how like invested she was in, understanding like what I'm really teaching people. And just her suggestion, I think, makes so much sense because I strongly believe that it's not necessarily about your looks. It's about the energy. When you cultivate the energy and the comfort in yourself, the allure and the attraction that you have is so much different. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I did my posture class. And I was so excited to hear back from some of the students who took that class. Like, I got some messages the next day and the day after of people saying that they got doors open for them. Men were checking them out more. People were smiling at them. They just noticed that people were responding to them differently because their posture was different. So I know we all have this belief, or at least I know I can say I had a belief when I was growing up that I needed to look a certain way in order to be treated well. And I would like us to change that belief to I can cultivate my attraction through body language and energy work. And just like how much love I'm putting into myself. Because people will respond to you differently when you carry yourself in a certain way. They absolutely will. And there's just no other way to explain it other than that. I've heard men say to me before, without even knowing me very well, you just carry yourself in a certain way as a woman. I can tell, you're this, that, and the other by the way that you carry yourself, just by the way that I'm walking into the room. And that is one of the best accessories that you can ever give yourself. Like you could be wearing a designer outfit, head to toe, full glam makeup, hair just done. And if you are walking in with insecurities and poor posture, that's how it's going to come across. So we can do the outside as much as we want, but unless we do the inside as well, it's never going to translate because I don't remember how, like the exact percentage, but so, over 50% of our communication is actually body language. So people are picking up subconsciously on the fact that you might not be confident. despite what you're wearing. So working on your posture and working on slowing down will change the way that you carry yourself and start to create a different version of yourself. It's really, really powerful. Like the people who sent me the feedback after the posture class, they were like, I think one of them said, I know you expected this to happen, but I didn't. That's what she said. I know you expected this to happen, but I didn't. And I love that because I'll tell people after you do this work, people are going to start responding to you differently. And I've been saying it, and I don't know, who's reading it and who believes it. But then the people who actually commit and do the work, they'll come back to me and say, I got 2 doors open for me this morning. Everyone was smiling at me. Everybody was checking me out. I'm telling you. Okay, wait, I got to finish this thumb before I continue. Concentrating so hard. Candy, I don't know if you're still listening, but I'm wondering what color you're doing your nails. Okay. Pretty good. Again, I'm outside the lines, but we'll fix that later. And okay. Ooh. Toes in Tiffany blue. Thank you. I bet the blue would look really cute on you. That color suits you. This one doesn't, again, this is LA colors from Dollar Tree, Candy. I have all these other nail polishes, but I like this one. It's sort of like it's almost like a strawberry red, like a candy kind of strawberry red. So it's also important when we start talking about developing your allure. Yes, LA. Yes. Look, it's getting the job done better than the one I spent more money on. So I might have to go get some more. But when it comes to developing your allure, your feminine allure, I believe that this is a superpower, and I have a program to teach this to anybody who's interested. And the reason why I believe it's a superpower is because it heightens your attraction, your power of attraction. And when I'm, explaining this to everyone, and when I'm sharing, like my students who say, more men were checking me out, like that's not the ultimate goal. So I don't want you to confuse my message here and think that I'm teaching this because I want you to get more male validation, because we don't need validation from anyone. Okay. First of all, we self-validate. The fact that I am here is validation enough for me. I don't see, birds going around asking other birds for permission and validation to do their thing every single day. I'm always going to go back to nature because we are nature. Yes, we're having a different kind of experience, a different kind of consciousness, but our bodies are still nature. Okay. They're subject to the same thing that every other living thing on this planet is subject to. So I don't see birds going around asking other birds for permission to live their life or for validation about, how their feathers look or stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that either. So this is not about getting male attention just for the sake of getting male attention. This is about changing your energy so that you are attracting positive things into your life. When you improve your posture and you improve your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and you walk up to a business or a building and someone opens the door for you, that is a lovely, positive experience. Who does not want that? I know. And then a lot of people will kind of fight me on that and say, well, I can do it myself. You know what I mean? I've seen people on airplanes like, oh, I can get it out of the bin myself. If somebody else wants to help me with something, why would I fight them on it and reject receiving? That is something that a lot of women struggle with. And that is why you are not in your feminine energy, because you are rejecting receiving help, receiving positive attention. That's why it's so uncomfortable for you to go slow, because you are rejecting the attention that you receive from going slow. You're in your mind thinking you look silly when in reality you look beautiful. And so you're rejecting the attention from other people because you believe that they're thinking the same negative things about themselves that you are. How do I know this is true? I have video evidence of this happening with one of my clients when I was doing a video shoot, which I often do with my clients. And this particular person is working on their confidence and they're doing fantastic. Okay. But what I saw on tape when I was reviewing the video is when they were going slow, before they got in their head, they looked gorgeous. When they were going slow and using the technique that we had practiced, using the posture that we had practiced, they looked incredible. The second they started doubting themselves and thinking, everybody's looking, you know what I mean? Like first they're in the frame. I'm watching the video. I have it on slow motion. The person is like going slow, looking incredible. I can see it in their body, and then I can see it in their face when they start to have that thought of, I'm going too slow. I'm taking up too much space. Oh, I'm nervous. They just completely start closing in and their eyes go down, their chin goes down, and we lose it. But it's only because of their own thoughts, not because they couldn't do it. Because when I literally have video evidence, they looked gorgeous, they looked beautiful until the thoughts came back. And that's really what I want to help people with. That's why the Pure Elegance Transformation Program that I have, it's both a movement program and an inner work program. Because we can do the technique all day long. But if you are still having those thoughts, it's going to be like a light switch where we're doing the technique and you look gorgeous, you look beautiful, you're in the moment. And then the second the thought comes back, we go right back to it. So we have to get rid of those thoughts. How do you get rid of those thoughts? By doing inner work. What is inner work? Inner work is the process of looking at your existing belief systems that you have about yourself and about the world, working on the way that you talk to yourself. When you're practicing, when you're alone at home, your inner thoughts, and possibly replacing the language that you're using with something more positive. It's about working on your self-concept. A lot of people have a self-concept that they are awkward and they are unable to become graceful. And they will say things like, oh, I've just always been really awkward. I've always been really clumsy. I've never really been that feminine. So what that says to me is that person has a limiting belief about what's possible for them. Because nothing is truly fixed, but a lot of people believe that it is. A lot of people believe that aspects of themselves are fixed and unchangeable. Believing that being graceful is a skill that you are born with. That's another limiting belief, so that people have it or they don't. You know what I mean? So if I don't have it, that means I wasn't born with it and I can't achieve it, which is not true. I was not born graceful. I just knocked my nail a little bit. I was not born graceful. I practiced it. All right, I'm on the pinky. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you have some of these things that you're struggling with so I can help you. I don't know, Kimberless. Oh, hi, welcome back. I don't know what OHB stands for. But again, anyone can learn to slow down, to be graceful, and to tap into their femininity by receiving instead of rejecting. If this is new to you, if this concept is new to you, I just want you to spend time observing yourself and other people and observing when they are rejecting help and rejecting receiving something. I think I told this story before, but one of my friends was going overseas and she was offered a free first class upgrade or something. And she didn't want it because she said it would be a waste for her because she was going to be asleep anyway. And that's kind of ties into what I had talked about in a previous video, where some of us are conditioned to believe that practicality is more valuable and more important than our own pleasure. So this person was thinking, well, I'm going to be asleep, so I'm not even going to be able to enjoy the first class experience, so there's no point. There's no point. Even if I could have, 30 minutes of more luxury, like that's just a waste of time for me. And it's not like anybody else was going to get the seat or the plane was overfilled. This person could have just had that nice experience, but they just couldn't. They literally have a block from receiving anything nice for themselves. Because if it's not practical, they consider it a waste. And that is really, really going to block you from tapping into your femininity, because femininity is all about flow and pleasure. Let me see what Kimberly said. Also, I'm 29 and I have the worst time not feeling sulky when I slow down. I always just want to do I always just do fitness choreography when I pole because I feel so awkward trying to be sensual. I wish I didn't. Kimberlis, you are not alone. You are not alone, and that is not abnormal. Feeling awkward is not a sign that you're doing anything wrong or that you need to stop. But a lot of times we are conditioned to believe that is the case because of how we all grew up in society, where a lot of times when you are going through something awkward, people are shaming you. So I know this, and I think, this is why, like, I was literally felt so called to be a middle school teacher for so many years, because whenever I would say, like, oh, I teach middle school, people would say to me, oh my gosh, how do you do that? They'd go, ugh, that's such an awkward time. Like, they would make this, I don't even like making the face and the sound and the gestures that they would make, because they were literally like shaming children for going through a developmental stage that we all have to go through. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, I wouldn't want to deal with that. And I'm like, it's not a problem. Like, there's nothing wrong with kids that age. Like, we all went through it, Why should we make them feel bad and make them feel like nobody wants to spend any time with them and help them because they're going through their awkward, puberty or adolescent stage? Like, that rejection of the awkwardness and shaming that we experience when we're younger, it creates a block in the learning process. So now every time you feel awkward, you associate that with shame or negativity, and you feel like you're supposed to stop. When in fact, the awkwardness is simply normal, and it will dissipate and ease over time. There's no way to get around it. You just have to go through it. Let me see what else you said. From Seattle, moved to Idaho when I was 17. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. Oh, thank you. I worked really hard on my makeup today. Oh, don't worry about your phone. I'm glad you're here. But just know that the awkwardness is normal. And learn to give yourself compassion, Kimberly, and anyone out there who's struggling with that. I've talked about this before. I can't go into super detail because of the restrictions on YouTube. But I had an ED when I was a teenager and in my 20s. That was pretty severe. And I was extremely self-conscious to the point where I would, I would skip classes when I was in college. I wouldn't show up for class because I was so self-conscious sometimes. And I held a lot of shame from some experiences that I had when I was younger. And one of the ways that I got out of that loop was by really practicing self-acceptance and self-compassion, and not cringing at myself anymore, but kind of having the approach of a big sister who's very nurturing. You need to replace cringe and shame with nurturing, self-nurturing whenever you're experiencing that awkwardness. So if you're trying to find that sensual movement and your body is feeling stiff, that's normal. And it's not going to be like that forever. And instead of saying oh, I'm so stiff, it's hard, I should stop, I want you to instead say something like, I'm so glad I'm practicing this. Like, you're going to get it. Um, put a positive spin on it. Push through it. Be that nurturing, loving, kind voice. I think I said this on a different live, but like, imagine that, you had a younger sister or brother, it doesn't matter, who wanted to play dress up and tried their makeup for the first time, right? And they have like lipstick kind of all over the place. The mascara is like all over the place. You know what I mean? It's not going to look polished at all. And if you were to turn to that child who's trying to find some sort of expression, like I said, younger sister or brother, it doesn't matter. Any child that's trying to find that expression in beauty, in fashion, in creativity, and you were to say, like, oh, well, you really messed that up. You know what I mean? You would just crush them. And so we don't want to do that with anyone else. And we especially don't want to do it with ourselves. It's okay to feel awkward because it's a new type of movement. Be nurturing towards yourself. Find the positive. What does feel good about it? And keep going. It's not going to be like that forever. It's not. But we think it is. You know what I mean? We think it is. And so sometimes we give up. And then again, it's nobody's fault that most of us were conditioned through our schooling experiences, through our childhood experiences, to associate mistakes or awkwardness in the learning process with shame. It's really, really unfortunate that most of us have had that kind of learning experience and carried it into adulthood, but it's simply, I'm telling you, as a professional educator, it is simply wrong, and it's simply not true. There is nothing that you can do in my professional expertise as an educator to skip over the awkward stage and the fumbles. Okay. Everybody went through it. You just haven't seen mine. But Kimberless or anyone else, if you need proof, go look up, like, this is no shade to Beyonce at all, but go type in, like, on YouTube, Beyonce falling on stage, or pop stars fall, while they're performing, mistakes performing, just so that you can see that we indeed are all human. And before they even get to a point where they're on the stage and they have a fumble, they've already fumbled and failed, how many thousands of times, to get to a level where now they can be on stage. And even then, it's still going to happen. So sometimes I recommend to people that they actually look those things up and watch them, just so that we can all normalize it more and let go of the shame, let go of the self-criticism that we might have, when we're trying to improve. I might actually watch some compilations after this, just for giggles. But it's really, really helpful because, a lot of times too, you might be like in your head thinking, I'm the only one experiencing this. It's so easy for everybody else but me. That is not true. Like I said, just one YouTube search will prove that wrong. Okay. This is looking good. It's a little, this one nail, it was really hard using my left hand, like, to get it on the other side, but close enough. I'm going to go ahead and put a top coat on, let it dry, and then I'm trying to think of what else I needed to do today. Ooh. We are in week 2 of the posture challenge in my private Pure Elegance pole community. So if you are out there and you want to do pole with me, you can join my private community on my website. There's a tutorial library. We do live stream classes each month. And then I'm really loving like the little private group that I've set up. It's kind of like a private Facebook group, but it's just on my website. And we're doing a posture challenge for January. So this is week 2 of the posture challenge, and we're focusing on pelvic tilt. And I chose to focus my practice this week on my pelvic tilt while I am sitting. So I'm doing that right now. And the thing for me is when I'm sitting, I will overcorrect and like pop it out. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll sit like this with an arch in my back. And so my tailbone is kind of like tilted up towards the ceiling. And that is not, even though this looks really cute, like for a picture, or if you're doing chair dance or something like that, that is not actually how we want to hold our spine. So this week, I'm trying to focus on neutralizing that pelvic tilt and sitting up nice and straight. So I'm going to do that now. Look at how much taller I just like grew. Again, I really have to focus on overcorrecting. But I'm going to do that now as I do my top coat. And the purpose of the group that I've started in that private learning community is for lessons like this. I'm going to have challenges every single month that are focused on kind of those fundamentals of elegant movement. And I've posted resources in there. I did a little poll today, like a, not POLE, but like a poll where you could vote on this posture picture, and then posted some exclusive content from the class yesterday. So I'm really, really excited about that because it's kind of like a virtual classroom experience with me. There's a lot that I want to share. There's a lot that I want to teach. And so if you are interested in that dance education, join the Pure Elegance Pole community. That's where all of that information is going to be. So yeah, I have to remind myself every time I'm sitting not to pop it out in the back there, because I want to have a healthy spine. I want to keep dancing as long as I can. And something we talked about in posture class, good posture not only gives off confidence and changes the way that people interact and speak with you, but it's also healthy and it supports your aging gracefully. When you have poor posture, you are limiting especially when your like head is down and your neck is in that certain position, you are preventing yourself from aging gracefully. So yet another reason to work on your posture. It is both a beauty and a health benefit. So sign me up. Oh, so much better. I did kind of bump one of these fingers, but it's really not noticeable. So I'm not going to worry about it. Oh, there's already plenty of tea in there. The only problem I have with this teapot is I'm so obsessed with using it that I'm drinking a lot more water than I normally would every single day. I don't know if that's a problem, but If you are wanting to get into teas, I highly recommend it. I think maybe I've talked about this before, but I don't drink caffeine and I don't drink alcohol. I don't enjoy either one. I don't. Having been a school teacher for 10 years, I remember drinking like a pot of coffee literally before I would even get to school, and then having coffee while I was at school. And it just really was not a good feeling to be ingesting that much caffeine. And also, it's not that caffeine actually like gives you more energy. What it does is it prevents you from feeling tired. Um, so it's kind of like tricking your body into thinking that you're not tired. It's not like it's actually giving you more energy to burn. Um, and I knew that it was not healthy for me when I decided to stop drinking it, and I felt so sick for like 48 hours. Really, really sick to my stomach, nauseous, headaches. So once I did that, then I was convinced that I didn't want to mess with caffeine anymore. Because if it was going to make me feel that sick when I stopped drinking it, didn't seem like a good idea. So I stopped drinking caffeine probably 5 or 6 years ago, I want to say. And I had already cut back before then, but that's like when I just completely stopped. And then I stopped drinking alcohol a long time ago. I want to say close to 10 years. Maybe 8 years. And I don't miss that either. It's very dehydrating. And so I can be motivated almost like overnight to make a change if I think that something's going to improve my skin and help me age more gracefully. So caffeine and alcohol can be dehydrating. So that was easy for me. I also just knew some people, who would drink too much, and it just really turned me off from it. So I drink herbal tea and water. And when it's hot outside, I will have a Sprite like once a month, and that's it. And I don't miss it. Like, I don't miss any of the other things. I do like the taste of coffee. Like, I like coffee ice cream, and like coffee flavored chocolate and stuff like that. But the world of herbal tea and like tea blends that you can make is endless. And I really enjoy like finding teas with certain properties and health benefits. So if you guys have watched the other videos, you guys know that I love drinking nettle tea. And I just recently found out that it's really helpful for supporting healthy hair growth. So I already had my cup of nettle tea this morning, which is why we're having chamomile now. But I love researching like different herbs and teas that I can drink for my own health. And I just find it really relaxing. I love to have something warm, especially in the wintertime. Definitely try to avoid like having so many cold drinks and cold foods during the wintertime. So get into your teas. They're also just delicious. Okay, Candy, are you done with your toes? Ooh, these are still wet. I'm just gonna have to sit like this for a little bit before I do anything. Okay, to wrap this up, we talked today about the art of slowing down and how it supports your feminine journey. It supports your journey in your sensual movement, in developing your allure. We also talked about the makeup lesson that I had. We talked about tea, and a couple of other things. So I just encourage you to find another time this week where you are going to sit down, and do something slow just for your own pleasure and not rush through it, whether it is painting your nails, cooking a meal for yourself, doing your makeup, maybe dancing. Take your time, okay? Um, Otherwise, if you want more help with your dancing, you can join my Pure Elegance pole community. This is a private online learning community where we are focusing on my style of pole, which is very slow, elegant, and sensual. Um, and then I also have a personal transformation program if you are wanting to make a deeper change and really master your movements and your mindset. So definitely consider those. And then also this Saturday, I have a 2-hour masterclass on the art of slowing down, what we just talked about today. We're going to spend the first hour really mastering those fundamental movements that are kind of sensual, like your hip rolls, your body rolls, etc. We're going to work on slowing those down. And then we're going to get into the inner work, those limiting beliefs, kind of like Kimberly said, those thoughts that come up in your head when you're trying to slow down that are blocking you. So if you want help, that's going to be a 2-hour small group masterclass on Saturday, like small group coaching. I'm really, really excited about that one because it's mind and body. And if you're considering working with me on that deeper level, this is a good way to kind of dip your toe into it. And then see, if you want to go further. So that's on Saturday if you want to join, and the recording will be provided. So cute, and how dainty you're holding your hands while you sip so that yes. Thank you, Candy. I don't want to mess my nails up. And also, I want to treat my body well because my body takes care of me. And so I'm always trying to soften my movements so that, I can feel good. I don't want to rush. I'm telling you, Candy, and everyone else, when you do this, you are going to pull everyone's attention to you. There is something about a woman and the way that she carries herself and her confidence in moving slowly and elegantly that everybody's eyes turn to you, and people want to open doors for you. People want to help you. It's a superpower. It is a superpower, and it's not a performance. It's not a performance to get attention, to get validation, to get picked for anything. That's not what this is about, because a lot of times the people who are responding to this energy that I have and helping me are simply strangers that thank you, Candy. You knocked me off my train of thought. Hang on. a lot of the times that I'm receiving when I have this energy, it's somebody that I may never see again. But it's nice to go through life and have those positive experiences and not be in a victim mindset of why doesn't anyone help me? Why is everything always so difficult? I have to do everything by myself. Like, I don't believe that at all. I believe that every time I go out into the world, like, I'm going to encounter someone who is going to have like a positive experience with me, and be soft and be warm, and be kind, and 99% of the time that is true. I'm trying to think of, like, I think I was at Dollar Tree getting these balloons, and I had this hat on, and the woman working at the checkout was like, "Oh, I love your hat." And, we were talking about that. And then I said, "Okay, well, I need some balloons, and just let me know, what's best. I don't want you to stop what you're doing and do them all right now." So we just had this like really nice interaction. And if I had come in there with some kind of energy of like, "Hey, I need this now, like I'm in a hurry," the whole thing would have gone so much different, right? But I really try to put myself together and embody this every time I step out in the world, because you never know who you're going to run into, and what you're going to be able to receive when you do. One time I got an extra free taco. You know what I mean? You just never know what you're going to be able to receive when you cultivate this energy in yourself. It's not about validation. It's about cultivating positive relationships with people, because you're bringing that feminine energy. Candy, be sure to support her by giving her a thumbs up for these gems today. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled that you were here with me, Candy. Like, that really made my day. I hope you're doing well. Wishing you the best. Glad you guys were hanging out with me today to do our nails and have a little chat. Give yourself grace. Give yourself time. Everything will bloom in its season. Just continue to water your garden, and everything will happen as it should. So I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. I hope I see some of you in the Art of Slowing Down Masterclass or in my private community. Otherwise, I will see you in our next little nails and hang. I don't know how that long this is going to last, so it could be on Wednesday. I don't know. But Candy, I hope you have a great day. And everyone else, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon.